Hi everybody, happy Wednesday. I hope you're having an awesome morning so far. Today's story time was inspired by our walk in the Trempealeau National Wildlife Refuge yesterday, where we saw an animal that has just returned for spring. This animal spends winter hibernating here. Some of them hibernate in the mud around or near or even underneath the ponds or our rivers, and some of them hibernate in the forest underneath the leaf litter, and they actually produce kind of like an antifreeze in them using sugars, and they can freeze totally solid in the winter and thaw out in the spring and be just fine. These animals have just returned to our waterways, so little ponds, our rivers, our lakes if they're thawed, and they are singing very, very, very loudly to find a mate right now. Does anybody think they knew who this animal is? If you guessed frogs, you are absolutely right. So our frogs have just returned. I've been hearing them singing all week long. Even last week I was hearing a few, but yesterday they were so loud. A lot of them are out and singing, and that's one of my favorite parts of spring. Some of our frogs are really small and camouflage really well, like our chorus frog. So this is really the only time of year that it's kind of, I won't even say it's easy to find them, but that you have a better chance of finding them, because they all come together to sing and find mates around the ponds. And then after they lay their eggs, they're going to disperse back out into the woods in different environments. So it can be really, really hard to find them because they're really tiny frogs. Even like our leopard frogs right now are in big groups in our water because they all have to come together to find their mates. So now is a really, really great time to go looking for frogs out in nature. One of my favorite facts about frogs is that if you feel underneath your eye, so bring your hands up and feel right here underneath your eye, and it feels really hard, that's called the occipital bone, and frogs don't have one of those. So there's no bone underneath their eye right here, and their eyes actually help push food down their throats when they swallow. So when they swallow, they blink, their eyes drop down and push food down their throats to help them swallow, which is super cool. Our story about frogs today is called Marsh Music. This is a really interesting story, I think. Music teachers, you are going to love this. There's a lot of music terms in here, and I'll post a picture in the back of our book here. It comes with a little glossary in case you're not familiar with some of our music terms, and I'll explain some as I read too. But you can check this out in the comments down below. Other than that, let's see. After I read the story, like usual, I'll post a few activities that you can do about frogs at home to learn a little bit more. I'll have an experiment you can do, a craft, and a fun little lesson activity for you that I'll post down below. You can tell I'm inside today. It kept sprinkling on me when I was trying to read outside. Well, I guess I'm not totally inside. I'm on my porch. But this is really great frog weather because frogs don't mind getting wet at all. So don't be afraid to put on your rain jackets and your boots and head out to look for frogs today after our story. All right, our book is called Marsh Music by Marianne Berkes and illustrated by Robert Norica. I don't know if I said his name right. Sorry, Robert. And in the inside it says, frogs do for the night what birds do for the day. They give it a voice, and that voice is varied and a stirring one that ought to be better known. So we'll learn more about our frog calls in our activities today too, and in this book. Skipped a page. The rain has stopped. Night is coming. The pond awakes with quiet humming. Maestro frog, so a maestro is like the conductor or the person directing the music and the singers. Maestro frog hops to the mound as night begins to fill with sound. Peepers peep, 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 peep. They have had a good day's sleep. So our frogs are sleeping during the day and up making music for us at night. Chorus frogs are hard to see. Hear them chirping do, re, mi. Then the other frogs come in. Soon the concert will begin. Fireflies light up the stage as the maestro turns the page. Maestro raises his baton. Now it's time to carry on. As you can see, the fireflies up at the top are our stage lights. The woodwinds whistle a long, sweet trill. The strings go twang, twang, twang. The horns bleat loudly, wah, wah, wah. Percussions snap and bang. So each one of our frogs make a different sound, and when they're all put together, it's like a chorus or a band, an orchestra of different instruments. Maestro starts out kind of slow. They're playing in adagio. Then he motions to the bass. The tempo starts to change. They're playing at a faster pace and in a higher range. You can see our maestro conducting with his cattail baton. And he's bringing in frogs and changing the pace of how they're singing. Longer notes, shorter notes. Listen to the quarter notes. Oink, 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 oink. 3/4 time. Gronk, 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 gronk. Music sublime. Two leopard frogs leap through the air. They're dancing a ballet. They pirouette on lily pads, and then they swim away. This is one of the most common frogs we see, and we could hear it singing yesterday, so these are out for sure. A tree frog glides onto a frond as sounds keep rising from the pond. Arf, arf, he calls down from the tree and joins the outdoor symphony. Stars are twinkling to the tune as they dance around the moon. The orchestra plays moderato, maestro motions animato. Faster, louder, wondrous sounds, music of the night abounds. There is a pause, then wild applause. Bravo, encore, we want some more. So you can see lots of other animals that are awake during the night listening to the concert that the frogs are putting on, which is pretty cute. But now it's dawn, the stars are gone. Maestro puts down his baton. That's all, my friends, it's time to go. Tonight, there'll be another show. The frogs come out each night to sing to us. The marsh is quiet, no more ringing, but wait, I think I hear some singing. The day's awake, now it's morning. A melody is heard. Can't be frogs, 'cause they're asleep. I think I hear... Who do you think is singing during the day? The frogs sing during the night. Who sings to us during the day out in nature? A bird. This is the glossary that I'll post for you. But this bird, I'll post some videos later of the frogs that I heard singing yesterday. And you can also hear this bird. This is a red-winged blackbird. And they are also singing very loud in our wetlands right now. At the end of our book here, it has some information about the cast of the show that we just watched. There's a lot here, so I'm just going to read, it's still a lot, but the kinds of frogs that we have around here. Some of the frogs in the book we don't actually have around here, so we'll read more about the ones we do have. So we do have bullfrogs, and these are really big frogs. They can be up to 8 inches long. It says North America's largest frog species. Bullfrogs are yellowish green to black, sometimes mottled with dark spots. Bullfrogs call a deep, resonant jug-a-rum that can be heard for long distances. They are strictly aquatic, so that means in the water, and they can be found in lakes and ponds. Spring peepers, these frogs are very small compared to our bullfrog. Are small, slender brown or olive gray frogs with pointed heads. They breed in swamps and live in low bushes and plants. When they sing in full chorus, their sharp, high-pitched series of whistles and trills, beep, 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 can be deafening. And they have, it's hard to see in this picture because he's so small, but they have this X shape on their back. So look for that if you're finding frogs. Chorus frogs are gray with dark spots and often blend in with their surroundings. They have slim bodies and pointed snouts and sound like a comb clicking. So if you have a plastic comb and you run your finger along the edge. The upland chorus frog has a vibrating chirp, while the ornate chorus frog has a clear, long chirp. Then we have the American toad. Short and fat in body, toads come in a variety of color, usually brown, gray, olive, or red, with various sized warts. The American's toad song sounds like a sweet trilling whistle. It is a sustained trill that sounds like brrr. It's not a good toad sound, I'm sorry. But you'll have to look it up. Strider also didn't like my toad sound. Up here we have our green frogs. They like to live in swamps and ponds in the eastern United States. They're usually greenish-brown with a bright green mask from the tympanum. So that little circle behind their eye is called the tympanum. So they have a bright green mask from the tympanum towards the jaw. Their call sounds like a plucking of a string bass or the twang of a rubber band slightly stretched over an open box. So that's one that you could make at home. Put a rubber band over a box and see what that sounds like. All right. Then we have our wood frog. I heard these ones calling yesterday too. They're often a bright metallic copper color with a dark mask over their eyes. They live in woodlands except when they go to and from marshes to breed. Vocalizing males make a short, raspy, duck-like sounds, a sharp, snappy clack, 2, 4, or 6 notes in succession. Kind of like that. Then we have our green tree frogs. You might see these frogs as we get into summer on your windows or your doors sometimes. They're attracted to the lights around our house because what else is attracted to lights around our house? Right, bugs. So the frogs come in to eat those bugs, but we often see them hanging out on our glass. They're especially active on damp or rainy evenings, just like today, and are easily seen around the edges of ponds and lakes, particularly among cattails. Slender and smooth, the beautiful bright green tree frog has a light stripe along its upper jaw and its side. Its call is gronk, gronk, gronk. Okay, and the last one we'll read about is the leopard frog. I'd mentioned these are really popular or really common around here, and we could hear them singing yesterday too. Leopard frogs are slender and smooth-skinned. They vary in color from light brown to dark green with leopard-like brown spots. Found around any body of water, their unusually long hind legs allow them to launch into the air, soaring great distances. The leopard frog's call is a long and low, interspersed with clucking grunts. I'm not even going to try to do that one. I'll post the video for you of what that frog sounds like. People say it sounds like if you get a balloon, if you blow up a balloon and lick your thumb and kind of rub it along the surface of the balloon, that's what it sounds like. So that was our book, Marsh Music. Again, I'll post some links down below. A frog call song guide that will tell you when different types of frogs will be singing. And then I can also link to a place where you can hear what those frogs sound like. So then when you go outside, you'll be able to recognize which frogs you're hearing. Just a reminder that our frogs have really sensitive skin. They can absorb water and air through their skin, which is what makes our frogs really sensitive to pollution. But just a reminder that it's always better to just look with our eyes. If we're catching frogs with our hands and we have anything like sunscreen or right now probably hand sanitizer on our hands, that can be really harmful to our frogs because they can absorb it through their skin. So just remember to be mindful of that and make sure that we're being respectful of frogs in their environment when we go out to look for them. I hope you find some frogs this week. If you do, please take a picture and show it to me. I love seeing what you're finding out in nature. And we'll see you soon for more nature videos and a story time next week at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Bye.